Action 4 Sports Director Clay Williams. With me, Action 4 Sports reporter Joe Bowling, and welcome to the 2014 UIL Realignment live webcast on ValleyCentral.com, brought to you by Action 4 Sports. We are just about 13 minutes away from when they open up the box. Over on this side, we are at Region 1 in Edinburgh. The UIL has brought their new realignment packages here for all the different coaches that are here. Every single team in the Rio Grande Valley pretty much represented here today. They will find out what teams they will be playing over the next 2 years in district, who they will have to play to make it to the playoffs, Joe.
Yeah, and it's going to take care of the next 2 years. So all the mystery that's been the last couple of months getting ready for this will be decided literally in a sealed box, taped up. You can't get to it. Nobody knows.
That's exactly right. Now, if you follow us on Twitter, then you've already seen the box. I tweeted it out just a little while ago. You know, it's not under lock or key or anything, just a cardboard box that's taped up, but the coaches like to call it the best kept secret in the state of Texas, because nobody's going to know exactly what's going to happen until 9 o'clock hits and those first papers come out. What we do know, however, which we have not known in the past, has been the actual classifications that the different teams will be in. It used to be that the numbers for the classifications were as well guarded a secret as the actual districts themselves, Joe, but last December, the UIL decided this past December to release those numbers, so at least we know who is going to be in what classifications if we don't know at what districts.
And perhaps that will bring a little more order to this, which is going to be a chaotic situation, is the fact that at least these coaches, when they speculate who they might be getting games with, that they know certain classifications. And again, fans, this year, 6 classifications in the state of Texas, which is throwing another wrinkle in the whole mix.
That's true, but all we have to worry about is the actual name change. We never had any 6-man teams down here before, so that means we won't have any 1A teams now. 5A becomes 6A, 4A becomes 5A, 3A becomes 4A, 2A becomes 3A, and 1A becomes 2A. No difference really other than just the names. So Joe, let's go ahead and show the folks our special high-tech computer graphics. You know, these are the classifications. These are not the districts. These are our best guesses. But we know there are 22 teams in Valley 5A football. 22 teams in Valley 5A football. These, we're guessing, are the way they are going to be spread out. We are not including any Laredo schools or any Corpus Christi schools in our guesses. Once again, just our guesses. Laredo schools and Corpus Christi schools could throw this whole thing into complete chaos, and we might not see any of this. Anyway, 22 6A schools. We have 15 5A schools in the Valley, with several teams from in the Valley dropping down from 6A to 5A, including teams like Sharyland, Edinburgh Vela, PSJA, Brownsville Pace, and Brownsville Porter, meaning that there has to be, where there were just one 4A district before in the Valley, there has to be 2 5As in the Valley right now, Joe.
Well, and one name that keeps popping up, Clay, that everyone was pointing at prior to all of this mess was right here, and they're still talking about it. Edinburgh Vela dropping into the Class 5A, not staying up in the Class 6, which may have thrown the biggest wrinkle in the whole mix as far as who's going to play where.
Right. Now, Edinburgh Vela, 2 years ago when they first started playing varsity ball, opted, even though they had 4A numbers, opted to stay 5A with the rest of the Edinburgh schools, Edinburgh, Edinburgh North, and Edinburgh Economides. But this time around, they said, we do not want to opt up. We want to keep Edinburgh Vela in their regular district. Their numbers make them a 5A, not a 6A, and so they asked the UIL if they could be separate from the rest of the Edinburgh schools, and the UIL agreed. It's fine. It's the way the numbers go. 2 years ago, Edinburgh CISD said we want to keep Vela with the rest. This time around, Joe, they said we don't mind if they're separate.
And by being separate, it means that it could give them a better chance at the competition level, which is what the ultimate goal is for these coaches, these athletic directors. We saw it last year in Brownsville, where the Brownsville schools, they stayed up in numbers, they stayed up, and frankly, Clay, they just couldn't compete at that level.
Yeah, and now then, Joe, let's talk about what's going to happen down here. For the first time ever, what used to be the Valley 3As, now the Valley 4As, will be separated into Division 1 and Division 2 before the season starts. Now, this is exactly what's happened the past several years with the 2A and 1A districts. But now, separated before the season, Hidalgo, La Feria, and La Gruya will be 4A Division 1. while in 4A Division II, we will have Raymondville, Port Isabel, Rio Hondo, and Progresso. We can say pretty much guarantee that these 4 teams will be together and that these 3 teams will be together. What we cannot say is what teams will be in their same district. But now separated before the season, Joe, it doesn't make that much difference because LaGruya and Raymondville and Lyford were in the same district before anyway. We had 2 3A districts. Now we're going to have 2 4A districts. It's just going to mean there's going to be a lot more widespread Corpus Christi area teams that are going to be included this year.
And that's where it could really get intriguing as far as how these districts match up. And we talked about it during our live shot on Action 4. This 4A Division II, Clay, could turn into one of the most powerful-looking districts, top to bottom, if the right Corpus schools get thrown in that mix.
Yeah, it could be very different. We talked about teams that were moving down. We talked about PSJA, Brownsville Pace, Brownsville Porter, Edinburgh Vela moving down, Sherryland moving down, Donna moving down as Donna North moves in, and as Sherryland's second school district team, Pioneer, comes in for the first time. We also have a team moving down in the lower ranks. Lyford goes down from what would be a 4A this year down to a 3A, which means for the first time in many years, Santa Rosa will have a Valley team in its district, as Santa Rosa and Lyford are guaranteed to be in the same district. What's also happened here, Joe, however, is the 3 1A teams that we used to have, which all used to be in the same district, La Villa, Santa Maria, and Monte Alto, which were in the same district the last 2 years, they will all 3 be spread out. As Monte Alto moves up from a 2A to a 3A, La Villa and Santa Maria will now be separated by Division I and Division II and 2A.
And what that means is that normally we would circle and say, hey, we're going to have a couple of playoff teams in the Valley at that classification. Not a lock anymore, because now they're all going to be in separate divisions, separate districts, and it's not a guarantee we've got anybody in those lower schools that are going to make a playoffs, which is a big difference maker.
Right. Well, we might as well put this down because it's going to change. Everything we did here is probably going to need to be erased in the next 6 minutes. I see folks back at Action 4 trying to give us a call. You might need to call some of the engineers, camera guys, because we are live right now on Action 4. Once again, want to remind you, you are watching Action 4 Sports and ValleyCentral.com's live webcast of the 2014 UIL Realignment. I'm Action 4 Sports Director Clay Williams. With me, Action 4 Sports reporter Joe Bowling. We're going to get you updated on everything when it happens, Joe, in 6 minutes. When the UIL opens that box, I'm going to leave you here for a second. I'm going to run up. I'm going to get those new districts. We're going to find out, and we're going to let everybody who's watching online, whether it's on your mobile device, on your laptop, wherever you might be watching us, across the country, across the world even, if you want to know what the UIL realignment is going to be, we're going to give it to you first right here on ValleyCentral.com.
Well, and that's the good news, because we'll receive an envelope about the same time all of these coaches and athletic directors get their envelopes. So, yes, you're going to know pretty well immediately as these coaches find out. Already I see some boards where they're listing, hey, I need games. Well, it's going to be exciting.
UIL getting ready to address us right now.
Welcome everybody to Region 1. It's a pleasure for Region 1 to host these important events. I'm Dr. Cornelio Gonzalez, Executive Director of Region 1. It is an honor for us to have you here. It's a pleasure to serve you, and we thank you for this opportunity to welcome you to our offices and to your home, Region 1. And we have a couple of instructions before we start. We know that we have to open the boxes at exactly 9 a.m. And therefore I have invited the only superintendent I could get a hand on, Dr. Herrera, to help us, Dr. Alejandro, I'm sorry, sir, you already changed your name, to open the box at 9, and we have a couple of instructions. UIL has sent us, first they sent us the box with the basic information that you're about to receive, and then later on they sent us a correction, an added page that you're going to receive too. So when you pick up your packet, make sure that you get both of them. There's an addendum or a correction to one of the pages in this packet that you have to replace with a page on the other packet. And we're going to open this at exactly 9, and our ladies here are going to help us distribute the packets. They're going to take them along the front so you can go and approach them. We're going to have several points of distribution, not a single point. Any other superintendents in attendance? At exactly 9, we're going to open the box. Thank you, and good luck to everybody.
Okay, so it is 8:57 a.m. We have about 3 minutes until the box is opened and the UIL realignment is released. Joe, what we haven't talked about is what's going to happen as soon as the realignment is set. We've got coaches around here who are going to be scrambling to fill football dates, depending upon how many non-district games they have. They will try to fill all their non-district games first, and then after everybody has filled as many non-district games as they can, then they will sit down at their different districts and they will hash out who plays when, where within their district schedule. That part's a lot easier than trying to find a non-district schedule.
Yeah, and the non-district games, I'm already seeing on the board over here where Palmview was the first school to list that they needed a game, but just now, Harlingen High, Manny Gomez goes up and listed he needs games in weeks 1 and 2, which, Clay, normally they've been going up into that San Antonio area grabbing a game.
Right.
Now, if he's looking for games already, who knows?
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is now we don't know who he's got for week 0 yet.
True.
But we also know that if our calculations are correct, that's going to be an 8-team district that Harlingen and Harlingen South will be in, along with the Brownsville schools, San Bonito, and Los Fresnos. If that's true, then right now I'm guessing he's got week 0 filled, looking for week 1 and week 2. He'll have week 3 on a bye, and then play the rest of his 7 games. That's the way they've done it before in these 8-team districts, which we had a couple of years ago.
But it gives you fans an idea that these teams by no means have their schedules set, and you'd think they make some phone calls, and they do. They talk to each other prior to this meeting, but nothing is locked in because they all want to see, first of all, how many teams are in these districts and how many of them are local that they don't have to schedule in a non-district game.
Yeah, so that's what will happen. As soon as the districts are released, and I'm going to head on up there, it is 8:59. Joe, I'll be right back with the districts, and we will let everybody know as soon as possible.
Well, and again, as Clay makes his way up to the podium, he's going to be standing in with what is going to be a list of athletic directors. There's even superintendents here that are representing these schools that are waiting with much needed anticipation here for the opening of that box, which will have the district alignments. And again, we just scribbled our names across here. It's a calculated guess here as far as what we put together as far as who is going to be where in district action, but by no means is this a lock. And like Clay said, we'll probably be erasing this. Again, as UIL is addressing the members here, we'll try to get him, and that way you can kind of hear it firsthand. Again, 9 o'clock a.m., they've said it many times, it's going to be on the money, 9 o'clock when they open the box and distribute these envelopes to media, to coaches, and ultimately to schools. So again, our live presentation here on valleycentral.com, and it's 9 o'clock, so here we go.
Open the box for us. Thank you so much, Dr. Alejandro.
Okay, hold on. I'll hand them to you on that side, Lupita.
Just
And
a
then we'll
second.
do the-
We have to open to Patty.
And then you have to...
Once again, as that box is opened up, you don't think this is like Christmas time, but indeed it is, because no one knows. And it's, you open it up, and the surprise is, or the prize is, or the gift is, here's where your district is.
Romford High School only. Romford High School. We don't have more, okay?
One for high school.
Romford High School. Let me finish with that first, and then you get one. Romford High School. Thank you.
We are live here at Region 1. It's a Monday morning. We got here about 7 o'clock. This room was bare empty. There were tables and chairs and just our camera crew here setting things up. It 15 minutes in which this room filled to capacity, and right now as the envelopes are being handed out, you're going to see smiles, you're all going to see the determination of these coaches, and here comes Clay, and we have the list, and away we go.
All right, Joe, everything we thought for 6A is exactly correct. We got it right. We have no Corpus Christi schools, no Laredo schools in the Valley 6A. District 30, as we say here, La Jolla, Palmview, Juarez, Lincoln, the 3 McAllen schools, McAllen, McAllen Memorial, and McAllen Rowe, along with Mission. That is your 6A, District 30 6A. District 31 is, yes, the Edinburgh schools, Edinburgh North, and Economides, not Edinburgh Vela, as we know, PSJA and PSJA Memorial and PSJA North. along with Weslaco and Weslaco East. We got it dead on. That means that the 8 final schools in 32 6A are correct as well. Harlingen South, San Bonito, Los Fresnos, Brownsville Hanna, Brownsville Veterans, Brownsville Rivera, and Brownsville Lopez. So 6A is all set. Let's talk about 5A. What have we got here? It is, once again, we're good. We have no Laredo teams. We have no Corpus Christi teams in District 5A. It is Roma and Rio Grande City, as we thought. It is Sherryland and Sherryland Pioneer, as we thought. It is Mission Veterans, as we thought. Vela, and it is Far Valley View. Right on once again. Hey, sometimes even a blind hog finds an acorn now and then. The other 5A district is Donna North. It is PSJA Southwest, Ed-Elsa, Mercedes, Brownsville Pace, and Brownsville Porter. So everything we thought is exactly correct. Now we get down to the interesting part, because 4A has been split up. Let's find out what teams are in 4A Division 1. 4A Division 1 will stay the same, pretty much, with Hidalgo, La Feria, La Gruya, and added to that will be Kingsville.
And this is what we expected. We expected some of these teams to come down.
Hidalgo, La Feria, La Gruya, Kingsville, and Zapata. Once again, as expected. Now then, how tough will 4A Division 2 be? Yes, pretty tough. Raymondville, Port Isabel, Progreso, Rio Hondo, Orange Grove.
Big time perennial playoff.
Wow, Bulldogs are tough, and Corpus Christi, West Oso. So Orange Grove and West Oso now join Raymondville, Port Isabel, Rio Hondo, and Progreso in 4A Division 2. Once again, about as expected. It could have been tougher. There were some people thinking that Sinton might have gotten sent down here, but they did not. But Orange Grove and West Oso is definitely a tough row to hoe. All right, let's head down to 3A Division 1. Who will be playing with Lyford and Santa Rosa? Well, it will be 3A Division 1, Lyford, Santa Rosa, along with San Diego, the Vaqueros. Aransas Pass, tough team. Bishop, the Badgers. And Falfurious Jersey Bulls. That is your 6-team 3A Division 1. This is going to get messy. I apologize. All right.
And Lyford had moved down into that 3A, fans, as you're watching that, so that's why they're in there. Yes, Santa Rosa, Lyford in the same district.
Yes, and for the first time in years, Santa Rosa finally has a Valley team in its district. I'm sure that they're pretty happy about that. 3A Division 2, who will be with Monte Alto? It will be Catuya. Oh, this is going to be a long drive. Dilly. Holy smokes. We knew it was going to be a long drive, folks. It's going to be long. Freer. We're going out to Brush Country and Hebronville. Brush Country Deluxe with Monte Alto. Monte Alto is in with Catuya, Dilly, Freer, and Hebronville. So who will be playing against Santa Maria in 2A Division 2? That will be, all right, 2A Division 1, I'm sorry. La Villa will be playing with Ben Bolt. I'm sorry, Santa Maria will be playing with Ben Bolt. Corpus Christi, London. The Pirates just started varsity play this past year. The Seahawks of Riviera. And Three Rivers. Wow.
Wow, that's
a pretty tough district right there. Ben Bolt, Three Rivers, Santa Maria, London, and Riviera. That leaves us only with La Villa. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. Let's get that back. Whoa, they're not splitting up. Okay, this is a change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. La Villa will not be in 2A Division 1. They will be with Santa Maria in 2A Division 1.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm not sure if we had the numbers wrong on La Villa or if La Villa opted up to get into 2A Division 1, but La Villa will stay with Santa Maria along with Ben Bolt, longtime rivals, in 2A. Santa Maria, La Villa, Ben Bolt, London, Riviera, and Three Rivers. 6 teams in Santa Maria. Got a Santa Maria football coach here. That means you guys will be looking for 5 non-district games. Better than you thought, right? Good. So La Villa stays in the 2A Division I. That's the only real shock that we've got here so far. And once again, I'm not sure if La Villa opted to go up to 2A Division I or if maybe we had the numbers wrong on La Villa. But 2A Division I is where they'll be. Everything else, Joe, we pretty much had.
Right on the money. You know, if you're looking at whose budget's affected most on this, well, there's got to be Monte Alto because if they have several away games in their district on any given year, then by all means their budget is affected. And Clay, at this smaller school level, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Now then, what we are looking at is smaller districts in what used to be Valley 5A, now is Valley 6A. So that means more non-district games. Each of these teams, once again, here comes the announcement that Harlingen is looking for a Week 1 and a Week 2 opponent. Harlingen, however, they're pretty lucky. They only have to find 3 non-district games. All of the Cameron County 6As looking for 3 non-district games, whereas every 6A team in Hidalgo County has to for the last alignment back in, say, 2006 through 2010, the way it used to be with 4 non-district games coming for each of the Valley 6As.
Well, and with the new schools coming on board, your Donna North and your Mission Pioneer, then, you know, where do they fall in? You know, do some of these schools want to grab them and say, hey, we want to get this first-time program on there, and are they going to have difficulties finding games? It's all happening right now as we speak.
Yeah, now everybody is scrambling around looking for non-district games. And we're going to find out where some of these non-district games are. Joe, I'm going to go out and do some checking real quick. I'll be right back once I find out who's going to be playing where and when. Remember, folks, you are watching ValleyCentral.com and Action 4 Sports live webcast of the 2014 UIL Realignment. Joe Bowling, Clay Williams. As we said, no real surprises other than the fact that La Villa is in Division I instead of Division II. Everything we thought is happening is happening. The UIL did the Valley a favor. No Corpus Christi teams in district, no Laredo teams in district in either 6A or 5A. That's a big relief.
That is a big relief, and as Clay goes to find a coach or two, which is going to be harder than you think because of the fact that they're all still trying to lock in these games. When he comes back, we'll be interested to hear, what the travels of these coaches has been, and how many phone calls were made prior to this meeting to kind of set something up on the what if. Because as we speculated this, that these other coaches did the same thing. But hey, how about this? This board, the top part of this board was all set. Clay and I wrote this down way before those envelopes were opened up. So, if you're talking about hitting it on the mark, well, that's a grand slam, if you will, as far as hitting this. And 6A again, you're looking at La Jolla, Palmview, Juarez, Lincoln, Mission, McAllen Row, and McAllen Memorial, all in the same district. We'll run down the next one, where the Edinburgh schools are now going to be missing Vela because they dropped to 5A, but Edinburgh North and Economides will stay together. PSJA North, PSJA Memorial, Westaco, and Westaco East will round out that district. 6A, the Harlingen schools stay together with San Benito, Los Fresnos, and 4 of the Brownsville schools, which remain at the 6A level in Hanna, Veterans, Rivera, and Lopez. Then you look at the 5A schools, and here's where there's been a little change, especially with the addition of the new varsity programs. Roma, Rio Grande City, they're in the district together with Mission Vets. Mission Sherryland, Mission Pioneer is going to play varsity football out of the gate, and so they're in this district. Vela, who dropped out of the 6A classification into 5A, lands in that district. Valley View will join that mix. The other 5A teams in the district, as far as the Valley goes, Donna North will be playing varsity football this season after 1 year at the JV level. PSJA Southwest, and then you have the Ed-Elsa's, the Mercedes, Brownsville Pace dropped down in classification, as did Porter. They're in that district, and that's how we projected it. That's exactly how it'll be. The 4A district, Division 1, Hidalgo, La Feria, La Grua, Kingsville, and Zapata, all making up that one. And then the 4A Division 2, which again, I'm rounding that out as one of the very toughest districts that you can match up, and that's with Raymondville, Port Isabel, Rio Hondo, Progreso, Orange Grove, and Corpus Christi West Oso. Now, West Oso and Orange Grove, perennial powerhouse as far as playoff teams go in the recent history. So has Port Isabel. Rio Hondo closed out the season on a strong route, and they've got a lot of players returning. And Raymondville, year in, year out, is putting together more and more competitive football teams with that high-octane, fast-paced offense, if you will. So, again, there's going to be some great matchups there in the 4A Division 2. 3A Division 1, Lyford, Santa Rosa, San Diego, Bishop, is all going to be in that district. So, again, this is how it matches out. We are live on valleycentral.com. Clay Williams is out in the mix, rounding out a couple of coaches. Like I said, it's going to be harder for him to bring in some coaches than you think because of the simple fact that these guys are looking for games. As we continue to watch, the announcements were made. I know Palmview was the first school to list that they need a game, and that's still on the board. And Harlingen looking for games in week 1 and 2. There are schools here from Laredo. We've got a couple of schools here from the Corpus Christi area. No, they're not in these districts, but they know that these teams are looking for non-district games. And so this is where you get some of those back-to-back season matchups, knowing that this is the first of what will be 2 years with these teams lined up in these districts. Now, again, this is not just football. This is in all sports, all UIL activities. This is how the districts will match up. And we've got it covered for you here live on valleycentral.com. Be sure you keep in touch with us here. What are your thoughts out there in the mix on where your school or where the team you root for is at? Keep track with us at Joe KGBT on Facebook and Twitter, and send us some shouts out there from where you may be watching this, because I know there's a lot of interest in what's happening here in this room here at the Region 1 offices, one of the biggest rooms they could put together as far as gathering a bunch of people together. Now, coaches are still holding up, walking around. It's kind of like a stock exchange, if you will, in which you see guys waving a paper up in the air, and you need one, need two, and they're talking about needing one game, needing 2 games. A couple of teams here from Mexico, from across the border, are here looking for games, knowing that some of these smaller schools need to bundle up a bunch of non-district games, and so that's happening as well. Again, Clay Williams is out and about. I'm Joe Bowling with you here on valleycentral.com. Action 4 Sports bringing you live coverage of the 2014 realignment. Now, what happens from here is that these coaches will literally set their non-district schedules together. That's the most important thing going on, because what will happen after that is that once they get all of those in place, the coaches will then gather together, and it's all pretty much a cookie-cutter mix as far as how these district games are set up. For instance, in this 6A, you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got the 7 teams. There will be a 7-team breakout, and they'll literally just throw the numbers in a box. You'll pull out a number, and your number corresponds to the schedule as it will on how that plays out. So that's the easy part. Now the harder part after you get there is with the Edinburgh schools trying to make sure who gets the home games and who gets the away games, and how you mix all those teams playing in one stadium. But the real deal that's going on right now is getting these non-district games set up, and that's what's happening with all of these coaches who are frantic, if you will, in getting this done. Now, some of these coaches have went out of the Rio Grande Valley to try to set up those non-district games. Other coaches traditionally stay with the Rio Grande Valley schools in their non-district games. But again, it's a mix that we expected as far as what we projected. The wrinkle would have been if Corpus Christi schools or if Laredo schools would have been thrown into the mix, and in this case, that did not happen. UIL set this up, and for the next 2 years, all of these games in districts will be played featuring teams right here in the Rio Grande Valley. Clay's still meandering about here, trying to get with coaches on who's going to be playing what, and by the time he gets back, he'll have talked to no less than a dozen coaches who may not have the time to come here and visit with us just yet, but the information will be coming in, because we'll have first-hand knowledge of games that are set to begin this season coming up in the fall when the new season. And here comes Clay, and I'm as anxious as you are to find out what he's found out.
All right, well, right now, Harlingen week 2, they're working on a deal. It's either going to be San Antonio, Reagan, or Corpus Christi, Cal Allen, which is a pretty blockbuster game no matter which way it turns out. Right now, Harlingen's leaning towards Reagan. Reagan's still looking to get back in touch with Harlingen. We'll know more on that in just a few minutes. The other big non-district game that we're looking at is McAllen taking on Odessa Permian in San Antonio. This is not quite finished yet. Not quite finished yet.
Of course, McAllen made the big splash this year. They were the surprise team, Clay, by coming in and suddenly being one of the powerhouse schools. And so they're taking a page from what Harlingen did and saying, okay, if we're going to be that elite, then let's go play the elite right out of the gate.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, if you want a great week 0 rivalry game right out of the box, how about McAllen Memorial and Sherryland straight out of the box? That's fun.
A done deal?
That is a done deal. McAllen Memorial and Sherryland week 0 right out of the box. McAllen Memorial playing a great non-district match. They've got Sherryland, then they've got, I can't read in my own writing. I think that's Economides.
San Bonito?
Yeah, San Bonito, and then Edinburgh North before they start up their district schedule. So that'll be very interesting.
Bill Littleton said, I'm going to take all comers. He basically grabbed 3 of the top teams in the area, saying, okay, we want them in our non-district games. And fans, like I was talking about while Clay was away, this is what is truly going on right now with the chaos, is everyone's getting these non-district games locked in. The district stuff will take care of itself, Clay. This is the important part going on.
As soon as what's happening now is, as soon as the non-district schedules are locked up, then the different districts will sit down at their individual tables. They will draw lots to see who plays who on what days. I just got done talking with Brownsville Athletic Director Mark Guess. He says that his big concern right now is that they don't end up having to play 3 games a day at Sam Stadium, because now with 4 teams in 5A and 6A and 2 more teams in 4A, that is a possibility. They hope not to have to do it. Maybe they won't have to, but there is a chance it could happen.
Many times this year they had 2 games on a Saturday, and so that's what I was talking about as well, is that the Edinburghs, the McAllens, and more importantly the Brownsvilles, the biggest deal once they sit down at the table with who they know is in their district is saying, when are our home games, who's going to get to play on a Friday, who's going to get to play on a Saturday or a Thursday. So again, we are live from ValleyCentral.com here at Region 1, and Clay, this is exactly what we expected. Now you got coaches who know they need games, but they're also kind of playing the poker hand, and I'm going to hold off because okay, thanks for the offer, but I want this game, and that works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Coach Michael Salinas from Edinburgh Vela. I want to see if I can get in contact with him real quick. Coach Salinas, you got a quick second?
Yeah, I think they're starting to talk about it right now.
Let me get you right here. Coach, first your thoughts on the realignment and your new 5A district.
I think we're excited. Things happen about like we planned. We figured we would go west, so we've prepared for it, and I think our kids will be excited for it. There'll be a little change, so I think it's good for ECISD, and realignment was good in general, I believe.
What Coach Filateo told me about Vela was that, it's a chance for Edinburgh CISD to get more championships, more kids in the playoffs, having, you guys in 5A, where you belong according to the numbers. Was that your thinking as well when you knew that Edinburgh CISD was going to let you guys drop down to a lower level than North Edinburgh and Economides?
Yes, no question. I think there's a reason for realignment, and when the numbers dictate that you belong in a certain classification, then it gives you and your kids the best opportunities to be successful.
Coach, let's ask about your non-district schedule. Who do you already have lined up right now?
Right now we have Pace week 1, we have Harlingen South week 2, we have La Jolla week 3, and we got PSJA Memorial week 4.
Wow, so if I'm right, that's three 6As and a 5A. Pretty tough schedule. That's what you're looking for to get your team ready for their district.
Yes, sir, no question.
All right, fantastic. Coach Salinas, thanks very much. Glad you already got everything set, and congratulations on your new district.
Thank you.
All right, that was Coach Michael Salinas of Edinburgh Vela High School, and so he already has his non-district set. Vela, as we said, dropping down. They are no longer in the same district as Edinburgh, Economides, and Edinburgh North, and if you'll notice, Vela is not playing any of the other Edinburgh schools in their season. 10 games, no games against anybody else in ECISD, not even a rivalry game with Edinburgh, which was thought to be what some folks wanted, but definitely not what Edinburgh High wanted down the line. So Edinburgh Vela goes from 6A to 5A. They will play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 district games, and they will play 4 non-district games against PSJA Memorial, La Jolla, Pace, and Harlingen South. Harlingen South Edinburgh Vela should be a pretty good contest, even though it is 6A versus 5A. Joe Bowling is out and about getting some of the latest action. As you can see, everybody's still here trying to make up some non-district schedules. It looks like they are starting to gather in their districts a little bit. The districts are starting to gather together. Soon they will, they are definitely gathering together. Right here in front of me, this is the new District 31 5A. You see Roma, Rio Grande City there, along with Edinburgh Vela. So Coach Longoria is there, and Coach Salinas there for District 31 5A, the new district. We hope you are enjoying our live webcast of the 2014 UIL Realignment on valleycentral.com, brought to you by Action 4 Sports. We've got plenty more coming, as we are going to find out some more district and non-district games that are up and coming. As we said, the Valley was given a definite break by the UIL in the fact that no Corpus Christi teams and no Laredo teams are in any of our 6A or 5A districts. We have 2 7-team 6A districts, 1 8-team 6A district. We have 1 7-team 5A district and 1 8-team 5A district, which is the way it needed to be to make things easier. We're good. Okay. Head on out. We're good. It's a webcast. We're not throwing a break.
All right, Clay, I got one of the first coaches that I saw actually close his book because he's got his schedule, at least the teams he's going to play locked in. Coach Bill Littleton, of course, is it appears to be a chaotic event going on, but you guys kind of really know what you're putting yourself together. But let's talk about your schedule.
Well, we got a really tough schedule, non-district schedule, and we went back to, I don't know what the number was, but we went back with the La Jollas and Mission, and we opened up with Sherryland, and then Economides and San Bonito, and then Edinburgh North. So we got some good opponents there in non-district.
Of course, you don't know where you're going to be playing those teams, but your thought process on getting these teams locked in, Coach. I know what you want to do. You want to get the experience for these kids against perennial playoff teams.
Right. I believe everybody, except for with the exception of San Benito, on our non-district schedule was a playoff team. So we got a tough schedule. So we're looking forward to it.
Of course, from here, when you lock in these home games as far as your district, that's already set. So that makes it easy. But now how difficult is it to decide, or is that a coin flip on these home and aways during the post?
Well, you want to try to make sure you end up with 5 home and 5 away. You don't try to balance your schedule up. So I'm fixing to go talk to Donna at Sherryland and see what he has, and we'll try to work it out. So where he balances out and I balance mine out, you might get 6-4, but you hope you end up with 5-5. That's where I'm headed right now.
That's Bill Littleton. We'll let him go, Coach. We appreciate it. And again, we are live here on valleycentral.com. As you can see, this room is a busy place. Coaches on the phones, coaches still at tables gathered around. Now, some of these coaches have already got all of their non-district games set, as was the case there with McAllen Memorial's Bill Littleton, but several of these coaches still locking that in. But what you're seeing at some of these tables is now the coaches are are gathering and getting their numbers as far as where they're going to be in district play. So the scenario seems to play out that, first of all, get these non-district games locked in, not necessarily home or away, it's just who you're going to play in what week. And then you go back, you get your district schedule. Kind of tells you, it even goes down as Coach Littleton was looking at, he knew that he was going to be away out of the gate to start his district play. So now he goes back and he tries to build that, I like a home game on that final non-district game to kind of get up and running. But boy, I tell you, it is a busy scenario. These coaches are going to go at it for another hour at least. Like I said, it alludes to a poker game. These guys have weeks open. They have offers on the table, and they're either holding out for a game in which they hope to get with somebody else, or perhaps they want to get a better matchup from a travel perspective, or a physical team versus a finesse team game prior to heading into that district. So again, we are live here on ValleyCentral.com. A very busy place here, as you can see. Got them all set in? Looks like it. Sketches in?
I'm just set. Got to pick the number. How many more we missing?
Clay Williams makes a return.
All right, let's see what we found out here. Let's go through some non-district schedules for you. A lot of guys that are definitely making some tough non-district schedules. Let's talk about Los Fresnos real quick. Of course, they are in 32-6A. That is an 8-team district, so they don't have as many as the Hidalgo schools to fill, but they filled them pretty good. How about week 1? By the way, there is no more week 0. Week 0 is gone. There is week 0 is out. We shall never speak of week 0 again. It was dumb in the first place, and I'm glad it's gone. Now then, week 1, which is the way we should be talking. Week 1, Los Fresnos versus Edinburgh North. How about that? That's a pretty good one to start. How about week 2, Los Fresnos versus Ed-Elsa?
Nice.
Yeah. And week 3, because it is a tradition and because it is a great game every year, Los Fresnos versus PSJA.
Which is a good one. But I'm going to go to that Ed Couch game because some would say, why do you want to schedule a team that's smaller than you? What is the win in there? The win is that the Macanino over there can bring it, and Los Fresnos knows that, and it's a different style. And if they get an away game over there, it's a different environment that you got to get your kids ready for.
Let's call spade a spade here. This is a physical, punishing non-district schedule that will have some. Luckily, in an 18 district, they will have week 4 off before they go, because in an 18 district, you're lucky you get to have week 4 off before you play your last 7 in a row. Los Fresnos will need that week 4 off after playing Edinburgh North, Ed-Elsa, and PSJA 1, 2, 3. Now, Sherryland, very interesting. Just talked with Coach Ron Adame. Now they have to share their field with Pioneer. They will try not to have any Saturday games at Rattler Stadium, which of course will be renamed now. They'll probably call it Snake Stadium or something with the Pioneer Diamondbacks coming in. But as a 4A team, how about this for a non-district schedule? We already told you that Sherryland's playing McAllen Memorial in week 1. I almost said week 0. Week 1. And that is a great rivalry game. Then it is Sherryland taking on Laredo United in week 2. Sherryland will take on Brownsville Rivera, another very physical team with Tom Chavez at the head in week 3. And for week 4, they will take on Laredo Alexander. So United and Alexander, they are already gearing up to take on teams that have beaten them in the past and are always perennial playoff contenders.
And that's by design, because Coach Ron Adame wants to get a look at how he matches up with that style and that play, because you're eventually going to have to play one of those schools or someone that beats one of those schools out of the gate. So now 2 of them in non-district for the Rattlers.
Yeah, now we've been talking about the 6As and the 5As. Yeah, the smallest district, one of the smallest districts we have is 4A Division 1. Only 5 teams in there. That means you have to schedule 6, count them 6 non-district games. This has been a problem with the former 3As, now 4As for several years. But I just talked with Coach Tahi Jones from Hidalgo, and he's got a pretty good schedule set up. He's going to play the new Mission Pioneer in week 1. He'll play Progresso. He'll play Port Isabel. So we will have a Hidalgo-Port Isabel game, which has been a lot of fun in the past. Hidalgo will also play Rio Hondo, and we will have the football rivalry that we love from the border. It is Copa La Frontera. It is Hidalgo versus Far Valley View. 2 teams that really just don't like each other. They will play each other, and they have just confirmed it will be Hidalgo and Lyford, and that will be an interesting game as well. Lyford, of course, dropping down into 3A now from 4A, but Coach Jaime Infante will have that spread offense going. It should be fun.
So again, Hidalgo with all those non-district openings fills them up with a nice mix of different styles, and I was curious to see which schools were going to pick up the Pioneers in their non-district game, because that's an unknown entity, because it's a first-year program. With Donna North, we kind of know a few of the players.
Yes.
With Pioneer, who knows who's going to be on that football team?
We don't even know who their head coach is yet for Mission Pioneer for the Diamondbacks. So all of that will be coming down the line. Coach Creeders, real quick, Reagan is a go for Harlingen?
Yes, week 2.
Week 2, it is a go. Reagan will be playing Harlingen in week 2 of Valley High School football. Right now, we do not know where. We're still hearing that they are going to find out where that's going to be played. It will be a home and home this year and next year. Harlingen will be playing the Reagan Rattlers for the next 2 years. Just not sure if it's going to be home or away.
Well, and that's another. That's by design, folks, because that's exactly what their coaching staff wants to do. Manny Gomez is not shy about saying he has to play some of those schools if he wants to succeed later in life, and I'm talking later in life in the football season tense, and that's what he's done.
And before, the last 2 years, Harlingen has been hamstrung by the size of their district, having to play 8 district games, only having 2 non-districts. Now it has gone down. It hasn't gone down as much as the Hidalgo County schools, but now instead of 2 non-district games, Harlingen has 3 non-district games to play with, and they're happy about that. It was going to be either Reagan or Cal Allen. Now we know Cal Allen is out. Cal Allen will be playing Mercedes again this year. That seems to be something that's going to happen every year from now on. But right now, it will not be Cal Allen Harlingen. It will be Reagan and Harlingen in week 2.
So Harlingen's non-district schedule, again, is going to be one of the tougher ones when you look at it top to bottom.
I'm going to go check out what's happening with Port Isabel right now.
As Manny Gomez is finished with Harlingen, but now Monty Stumbaugh is where Clay is off to talk about. And we talked about that district. It could have been tougher. It's still going to be pretty tough as far as where the Port Isabel Tarpons are going to be with Raymondville, PI, Rio Hondo, Progresso, Orange Grove, and Corpus Christi West Oso. That makes up that 4A Division 2. Again, we are live here on valleycentral.com. We've been here since early morning hours, but prior to any of these coaches arriving, we were here, we were getting set up, and we put our board together, which had it right on the money across the board. We didn't have to change a thing in 6A and in 5A. We added the schools in 4A. It was 3A Division 1 and 2 and 2A Division 1, in which we had our one change on our board. Otherwise, what we had posted on Twitter, on Facebook, on all of our social media is exactly what was in the envelopes, and that, my friends, was a mystery up until 9 o'clock. Again, I'm Joe Bowling with Action 4 Sports. A busy place. It's kind of quieting down as these coaches have locked in their non-district games, and now they're just going through the motions of finding out where they land in district play, and when they get those home games and away games, they already know who they're going to be playing. Again, though, it was chaotic early. Still negotiations going on who's going to be playing who, when, and where. Fans, again, we are at Region 1 as we continue with our live streaming coverage here of the realignment in 2014. Clay Williams made his way over to talk to Coach Monty Stumbaugh of Port Isabel and probably locked in another one. I see a Raider coming to join the mix.
That's right, Joe. Live with me here is George Pena, the new coach at PSJA North. Coach, your thoughts on the district that you're in? It couldn't happen any better way for the UIL to treat the Valley 6As and 5As, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's something that's the way we thought it was going to turn out. And it's one of the few times that it turns out the way you expected.
That's true. The UIL's been good to the Valley the past several realignments. We haven't had anybody have to go too far when it comes to the biggest schools. Do you think that they're noticing, they're understanding the travel concerns around here, and that it's best for everybody down here to not have to go to Corpus or Laredo if we don't have to?
I do, and I think we have enough teams to be able to set it up this way. So we're real happy with that.
22 6A teams as we spoke. You are in a 17 district. That means, if my math is right, you've got 4 non-district games. What have you got set up already, Coach?
Well, we got Brownsville Vets. We have Mission Vets, Mission Veterans. We have the first game is going to be with Bears, and the second game. Let's see. Oh, I can't think of that second game.
That's all right. Keeping the rivalry going with PSJA, despite the fact they're dropping down to 5A.
That one was going to happen.
There wasn't any choice in that one.
Oh, no choice in that one.
Fantastic, Coach Pena. Thanks so much for joining me, real quick. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. So there you have it. The PSJA North, PSJA rivalry will continue despite the fact that those two schools are no longer in the same district. We will have Raiders, Bears, the way it was meant to be. We have some interesting things happening in Weslaco as well, as I just received Weslaco and Weslaco East non-district schedules. They look like this. Weslaco and Weslaco East will both be playing Harlingen South this year. Weslaco will open up with South. Then, once again, another rivalry has been salvaged. Weslaco and Donna will be playing, folks. So the Donna-Weslaco rivalry, which did leave us from about 2006 to about 2010, will be back again, despite the fact that Donna has dropped down to a 5A from a 6A. Weslaco will host Donna in Week 2 of Valley High School football. That will be a huge game at Bobby Lackey Stadium, you can guarantee it. Weslaco will then travel to Corpus Christi for a non-district game at Corpus Christi King, taking on King up there. And then what a fantastic game on tap for Week 4 for Weslaco, as they will take on the Harlingen Cardinals. That should be a humdinger. Not really sure where that one's going to be yet, if it's going to start at Weslaco or if it's going to go on to Harlingen. Weslaco East, however, will be taking on Brownsville Rivera to open up. Then they will take on San Bonito, then Harlingen South, and Weslaco East will finish up with La Jolla. So there are some of the non-district schedules that we've had. Of course, PSJA North just told you. Coach George Pena just told you that the rivalry with PSJA has been salvaged, and the Donna-Weslaco rivalry has been salvaged as well. Joe, so this is good news for everybody who loves to see good rivalries.
Oh, wow.
PSJA North, PSJA Los Fresnos, Donna-Weslaco, it's all still happening. Of course, Mercedes and Ed-Elsa are in the same district, same with Harlingen South. So we've got some great ones right there. And of course, Harlingen and San Bonito in the district, same district again. So that is another good sign. We don't have to worry about that one being a non-district game. It will happen in district play.
Rivalries. Tradition continues here in the Rio Grande Valley, which a lot of fans are concerned with, including you. You talk about the Harlingen San Benito. They were concerned that was going to finally be taken away from them. Not the case in the Weslaco Donna. Well, I know fans were chomping at the bit year in, year out to get it, and now they're kind of on pins and needles when it's a non-district game. Can they make sure that it happens? It does. I like the Weslaco-Harlingen matchup you're talking about. You talk about two teams that are going to collision course, hard-hitting football game. Tony Villarreal will have his kids skyrocket high for that game.
Yeah, it should be a great game. All right, Joe, I'm going to go try and find out some more. Going to get some more interviews. If you see anybody coming by, just grab them and talk to them. But I'm going to go see if I can find out what's happening with Ed-Elsa. Port Isabel still trying to fill out their non-district. We're going to see what we can do with that.
And, of course, that's nothing new with Port Isabel. Monty Stumbaugh, he likes to play a lot of cards out there when he's playing this poker game of scheduling all the way down the line as far as mixing it up on who he wants to play and why he wants to play him. So many of these coaches take a look at a different mix in these non-district games, and they want to play teams with different styles, different backgrounds, different experience levels at the playoff level, because ultimately that's what all of these coaches are trying to do in this non-district competition, is get their kids set for what it's going to be like when the playoffs arrive, as everyone has that goal of making the playoffs front and center when they set their preseason goals. And so therefore these coaches are looking at, who do I want to play, and the reasons why they want to play them are, again, style, physicality, and experience level in the playoff mix, so that they can have their kids ready when they come down to that playoffs and during postseason play, of saying, now remember when you played this team, this is what it was like, or remember when you played this team, this is what it was like. In the Sherryland case, what Ron Adami has done in the past few years is he's played teams that he pretty well knows are going to be in the playoffs, and he rolls the dice that I might just get to play that team again, and that's the case. Clay's got a guest.
Hey guys, Coach Ramiro Leal of the Donna Redskins joining us. And Coach, first thing we wanted to know about, of course, Donna Weslaco. We found out happening, now is it week 2, is that correct?
It's the second game we kept it. We were able to work it out, and yeah, we're going to play them. We got to keep the rivalry going. So,
yeah, for 4 years the rivalry didn't happen, and everybody was, upset about it. So you guys have kept it going, and
yeah, I think it's really good for the kids in the community. It's a really good rivalry. It goes back years and years and years. I don't even know how many years it's been going on. So I thought it was really important to keep it going. The kids like playing in the game, and it's good, like I said, for the whole community.
Now, talk about your district and the 5A district that you guys are in.
Yes.
Let me go through it real quick for those who don't remember. Where are we at? 5A. Here we go. Donna North, PSJ Southwest, Ed-Elsa, Mercedes, Brownsville Pace, Brownsville Porter. That looks to me like 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that have dropped down from 6A are in that 8-team district. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I'll be honest, we were surprised. I thought we would have a 7-team district, maybe possibly 6 with the Laredo schools, but going to an 8 caught us by surprise. But, I think it's going to be good. We got some new teams we're going to be playing, some new rivalries we're going to be freshen up with Mercedes in the Mid-Valley and also at Ed-Elsa. So I think it's good. It's positive in every aspect I think we have.
It makes things easier on you guys, right? Having not as many non-district games to schedule, and also not having to go as far as, say, as if you had a Corpus Christi or a Laredo school.
Yes, that's a big difference. We got a little spoiled last year because we would go to Edinburgh, so we go to Sherryland, but now we have to travel to Brownsville. But like everything else, it's still, we'll adjust as it goes.
Your thoughts on now? Let me ask you about Donna North. Mm-hmm. Home game for you or away game for you?
Well, right now I got it at home, but we got to go double check on that. Either way, it's going to be a really interesting situation. We've never had that. I think we're playing them. I got to check on see when we have them, but we have them. We got them at home. We'll be at home against, let's see, Donna North. Where's Donna?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, we're home. The next to last game of the season.
So next to last game of the season, it will be Donna and Donna North. It will be Redskins and Chiefs. There's another great rivalry game. That's going to be a lot of fun straight out of the box.
Yeah, it's going to be a great rivalry. I think that, of course, the split always hurts, but I think, there's more opportunities for more kids. So, more opportunity for communities to get involved. So I think it's positive in every which way. And it's a great rivalry to start off. I mean, I'm privileged to start off with the first game, be playing against them.
All right, we know about week 2 of the Wesco. What's the rest of your non-district schedule?
We have Brownsville Vets first week, and we have, of course, Wesco. Then we followed by Hannah. I tried to arrange it because I knew those teams wouldn't be in our districts. So it was real tough to decide where we're going. So we tried to schedule Brownsville because we knew we probably can guarantee those games, and it worked out good. It worked out good that way.
Fantastic. Ramiro Leal, the head coach of the Donna Redskins. Thanks so much for joining me.
Okay, take care.
Thank you very much. All right, so there you have it. Donna will have Weslaco on their docket in week 2. And they will have Donna North on their docket in week 9.
Let's talk a little Edinburgh North football, and a coach that had some success the last couple of years, going to go through a youth movement. And coach, but I'll tell you what, you're going to put them through a juggernaut. Let's talk about that non-district schedule.
Non-district, they're all playoff teams. We've got first week is going to be second week Rivera, Los Fresnos week 1. Then we go to week 3 is Ed Couch. And our sister school right next by to us, and then the last school is McAllen Memorial. They got a playoff team, a lot of youth, that's best year, so it's a tough schedule.
Well, I talk about how coaches kind of set this non-district games up. Coach, they look at experience, they look at style, and they look at physicality of teams as far as how they play. And I know you've done this. You've mixed this up with teams that play different styles with the finesse and the physical. Let's talk about Ed Couch. A lot of people will say, well, that's a small school, but Coach, it's not a small football program.
No, they're a powerhouse year in and year out. I know they were senior ball club kind of like we were, but every year they load up, and we've tried before to get together, being that we're neighboring schools, and it's going to be a big challenge, but I think good for us and good for them.
Let's talk about the other non-district games, Coach, and again, you're looking at different styles because you need to see different offenses, different defensive sets.
Yes, I mean, Los Fresnos get with the ball up in the air a little bit more, and Rivera likes to run. Of course, maybe with Jaquil gone, I don't know, a little bit different, but we got to get ready for the running with the Westlaw goes, and we got to get with the far, and far now. They try to open it up with Memorial, so it's a good mixture. And then we got Econ that runs the ball, Memorial. Of course, you're going to line up multi-ways and still run the ball with 21. So it's just going to be a good challenge with our youth. And, we have an excellent freshman group coming up. I don't like to play with sophomores, but to see how our offseason goes.
Well, I know one thing, that the ultimate measuring stick for coaches in non-district is you want to get yourself set for district play, and I think, Coach, you've hit that on the mark.
Thank you very much. It's going to be a challenge. We can come out healthy. We're going to be okay for the district. We'll be tested for the district.
And, of course, Sherryland not on their schedule, which is year in, year out, been one of those games everyone's circle, Coach. But final game of the year, I don't think anyone's going to have any problem trying to get to that game.
Well, we had them scheduled, but when the thing came out, I think they thought they had an 18 district, so we dropped it. But then by that time, I'd already got McAllen Memorial, which is another challenge. But we were going to try to keep that game together. It's just good for both of us. But things happen real quick.
So now let's talk about how the season finishes up. Regular season, final game, Coach. That's going to be a big one.
It's a big one. It always is. A sister school, and we played them the last game of the year last couple of times, and then the last 2 years were the first game. So that set us up for the year, and ends up being the difference. So we got a little bit more time to prepare for each other, but a lot of challenges along the way.
All right, all that's left to do, Coach, is get those home and away set up, and we appreciate you joining us. Again, Edinburgh North, well, they set up a gauntlet for this young group to try to get ready for the high school football season coming up next fall, and when it all tees off. Now, Clay Williams is over there talking. I see him with some Sherryland. Again, over across the room, you still see a bunch of coaches. What's still happening is, again, you just heard it right there where coaches had someone that they were going to schedule, and then they were anticipating a little different mix in how these districts play out, and so they had to change on the fly and find out who they're going to be playing in these games. But again, we're live, ValleyCentral.com's coverage of the Realignment 2014, and Clay with another guest.
Hi, folks. Right now, Ed-Elsa head coach Joe Mauricio is with us. Coach, first your thoughts. 2 5A districts, it's what we hoped, I'm guessing. It turns out pretty well.
Yeah, it did. This is my first event here, and they're coming into it. There was a lot of scenarios, three 5As or 2 and this and that, but it came out and we got 2 5As, and our district is pretty tough, so we got to be ready for that.
Yeah, you talk about a tough district. Well, you've got 4 teams by my count that have just dropped down from 6A into 5A that are all in there, plus new teams like Donna, PSJA, Pace and Porter, plus the old rivalries in Mercedes. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you can look at that schedule and say maybe pick out 4 or 5 that could be rival type of games and stuff like that, and it's going to be interesting. And we started talking as coaches and said, man, we got to get to work already. So they're getting our kids ready for this district.
The good news in an 8-team district, you only have to worry about 3 non-district games. So who have you got for non-district, Coach?
We wanted to challenge the kids. I know we're going to be young, so we got some tough ones, man. Week 1 is Nicky Rowe, followed by Los Fresnos, and then ended with Edinburgh North, and then we're open. So it's going to be a good one.
Wow, that's several 6A teams right there. You're definitely going to get a test straight out of the box.
Exactly. Our kids got to grow up real fast, and and that's what we want. We want to challenge the kids, and hopefully get ready for playoffs and line ourselves up to have a good little season.
You talk about having a young team. Is this the kind of district and the kind of non-district schedule that definitely tests a young team like that, throws them into the fire straight out of the box?
Might as well get them ready right now, because looking at that district, it is going to be tough. Some of those teams could have been 6A, the Donnas and the PSJA. So those guys are going to be tough, and the coaches are going to get them ready. So we got to do our part too, and do whatever we can to get them ready. And I feel having a tough non-district schedule will prepare us for the season.
I already have a rival in there as well, like Mercedes, but a chance for teams like Donna and Donna North to become more of a mid-valley rivalry as well, I guess.
Well, Donna used to be the rival back in the day, and I'm pretty sure the old timers are going to come out and get excited about that one. So we're looking forward to that one.
All right, Coach Joe Maurice-Lar, Ed-Elsa, thanks so much for joining me. We appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right, so there you have it. Ed-Elsa ready for getting ready for a tough 5A district, and they'll be playing some great non-district games. Edinburgh North, it's going to be fantastic. Who you got, Joe?
I got Coach David Gilpin with the Mission Veterans, who has got his non-district schedule locked in. And Coach, let's talk a little bit about it, the mix of teams for you guys in non-district play.
Yeah, it's we're real excited, Coach, about our non-district schedule. We had some tentative agreements in place. We had a Mission game, obviously, big game in our community. We had Odessa Permian. We had Corpus Christi, Calallen, and Mercedes. With realignment, we lost 2 of those 4 games. We lost the Calallen game because they went to 9 teams in their district, and we lost the Mercedes game because they went to 8 teams in their district. So we picked up Juarez Lincoln and PSJA North in place of those. So we feel good. We got 4 6A teams on our schedule for non-district, and we feel it's going to help prepare us for our district schedule.
Now let's talk about that Odessa Perryman game, because Coach, I've said it. You guys are looking to find the different wrinkle in the mix in non-district play to give your kids the experience. How did that one come about?
Well, Joe, it's like I said, all they can do is tell me no. So I called them and didn't hear back for about a month, 2 months, and finally got a phone call saying, Coach, you still interested in that non-district game? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, we'd like to play y'all. And so just kind of taking a shot and seeing what could happen. I did the same thing with Calallen, and Calallen accepted. And, like I said, we lost it because we had week 3, and, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to play them the next 2 years. But the Permian game was just one of, saying, we need to play. Joe, I called Harlingen, one of the best, tremendous amount of respect for Manny Gomez and their program. Say, Manny, we're trying to take our program to another level. We need to be on the field, play, evaluate against teams like yourself. He said, Coach, I'm doing the same thing. I'm waiting on a call from Houston. I'm waiting on a call from Dallas. And so from there, I went out and I branched out to see what we could find. Sherryland, a tremendous amount of respect for them. Well, they're in our district now. So I said, you know what, let me just see what we can find out of Valley. I talked to Gregory Portland, couldn't get one there. Talked to Marble Falls, starting to look around the state. So some things that we can get on the field and evaluate our football team and our coaching staff against some programs that have historically been state champion level teams. And for us to evaluate from the stands, for us to evaluate on film is not the same with being on the field, putting our kids in a position to compete of teams of that caliber. And I could talk to you for 30 minutes, Joe, and I know you don't have time, about the reasons that we're trying to play a non-district schedule like this. And a lot of it has to do with preparation for our district. Yes, a lot of it has to do with preparation for our playoffs. Preparation, for our kids that are quality kids that can play in college. Our quarterback, we're really, really high on. Well, putting him out there against an Odessa Permian or against a Corpus Christi Calallen allows me to speak to a college recruiter and say, look, he did this against the best Texas high school football has to offer. This is a guy that can play at your university. So that's another reason that we want to get involved in doing those things.
Gives you a proven commodity to show that this is what they did. And also, Coach, let's talk about your district. Sherryland now in the district, Coach, a different style completely comes to your place, and it could be, I'm looking at it, could be some shootouts coming up.
It's going to be some fun in our district, man. When you add those 2 Sherryland schools, and I know Pioneer won't have many seniors this year, but they're going to obviously become a powerhouse in the future. You drop Edinburgh Vela in there. That's one of the up-and-coming programs in the Valley. Rio and Roma and ourselves have been going knocking heads for a while, and it is going to be one heck of a district. Boy, I don't think there's going to be too much come easy in that one, So we're a little bit surprised. We're there. We got Valley View and Vela, and we were expecting PSJA and PSJA Southwest. So there were some changes there, but the level of football and even the other sports, Joe, is going to be outstanding in the new District 31-5A.
It's going to be something else. We were also talking about rivalries, and some of those are kept intact. Coach, I know that the game with Mission is important for the fans.
Right out of the bat, man. We're playing them August, week 1, right out of the box. We're going to get out there and knock heads and do what we do when we play each other. They've been successful against us, and, we're trying to to match that. And, I think it's August 29th, August 30th, whatever week 1 is on Friday night, we're going to line up with Mission High School and get it on.
Talk about this event here, Coach. How anxious were you to get here this morning? I know that envelope was sealed and no one got to know what was there.
I was sitting there in probably about 5 minutes till we got it. I looked at our coaching staff, our coaches, our coordinators that are here, and I said, man, I just got a big old case of butterflies. And I did, man. My stomach just kind of turned upside down on me and just wasn't sure what was going to happen. And like I said, I had to check our district. Couple of surprises there. Then I had to check, okay, what happened with Mercedes, what happened with Cal, what happened with Permian, and sure enough, we lost 2 of those 4 non-districts. So it's a little bit of a hectic morning, but everything's starting to fall in place for us, and we think we're going to have a heck of a without a doubt.
Well, no doubt about it. Coach, appreciate you joining me. Like I said, we could sit here and talk all day, but you got some home and homes to figure out now.
We're working on now.
That's Coach David Gilpin with Mission Veterans, and off he goes. And again, we continue with our coverage here on valleycentral.com with multiple coaches telling you the story on how these games come about. Odessa Perryman, folks, a real deal quality football team when you mix that in as far as your non-district games, and like the coach said, he brought in another angle as far as why he schedules games that he schedules. It's to get the experience, it's to get this, it's to get that, but in his case, to get his quarterback showcased with some college recruiting material to show that his kids can play at the level that is required at the college level against other players that have been recruited already. Again, we are here. It's a packed house. You can still see these coaches are still talking about, I watched by another coach who said, hey, coach, who you got? He goes, I got it set. He goes, well, I wanted to play. He goes, everybody wanted to play me. And that's not just a single event. A lot of these coaches are singing the same thing. Again, a very busy day here today as we continue our live streaming here on valleycentral.com. We continue on with our coverage here, and as we are streaming this live, I grabbed a man that's very busy. I was talking about coaches who were telling me, hey, Joe, everybody wanted to play me, and I heard you say that, Coach of Mercedes Tigers here in the house, and talk about your schedule.
I was being playful. We obviously did our legwork before we got to the meeting. We anticipated this district. We didn't know for sure, but we scheduled all our non-district games well in advance. We're going to continue playing McAllen, which has been one of those little friendly rivalries for the last couple of years in non-district. We've been playing them so long in the playoffs. I want to get our kids to get a feel for that type of size, speed, and that coastal bend. At the same time, Nicky Rowe, we feel that's an opportunity for us to play at McAllen School, which is always really strong, and I'm good friends with their head coach, Paul Reyes, so I want to give that, and La Feria, at County Line Bowl. So we had that set up already.
So you've already got those games set up, Coach. And talk about the mindset and how you look at that. It's not just, hey, I want to get somebody that we like to play. There's reasons why you picked certain schools and certain styles.
Absolutely. We know Nicky Rowe has a tremendous spread attack. And with a lot of great athletes with a lot of speed, and we know we're going to see that in district. La Feria is a very physical ball club. We know we're going to see that in district. Callan's a potential playoff opponent maybe in the second round, and that's where we want to be. So we try to prepare ourselves. So there is a method to our madness, absolutely.
Talk about that district, Coach. You expected it. It doesn't mean it makes it easy.
No, I mean, getting Donna and Donna North, it's a tough community. They love their football. Donna's going to have a lot of their kids returning from last year's team. PSJA, again, they were young last year. They have a new fiery coach that's going to get them going, and I know he's building a good staff over there. So, it's going to be very challenging.
All right, well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us. I know you've been busy, and it's going to be here sooner than you think.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, again, the Mercedes Tigers have their schedule locked in, and most, as the case with most of these coaches, they're trying to set up when the home games are and when the away games are, as the rivalries are intact, and the big games that they're wanting. In their case, they wanted that Allen game. That was an important football game for them, and they got that one locked in. Again, our streaming coverage here live as the room continues to kind of thin out a little bit, but you can see now where coaches are congregating and getting those district games locked in. Like Clay was explaining, like I was talking about earlier, what happens there is that's a cookie cutter kind of scenario in which all they need to know is how many teams are in the district. Okay, with an 8-team district, well then here's numbers 1 through 8, draw them out of a hat, and here's who you play, and then it's just figure out home and away games. And Clay, I'm sure that's what you're seeing now is these home and away games being figured out.
Yeah, got some breaking news here. It is official. McAllen will take on Odessa Permian Saturday, August 30th at D.W. Rutledge Stadium in Converse, Texas. So home of the Rockets. They're going to meet halfway. Odessa goes down to Converse. They will play Coach Kevin Brewer's McAllen Bulldogs for the first game of the season. It will be on a Saturday, so anybody who needs to travel, they haven't set the time yet. Most likely it will be an evening game because August 30th in Converse can get pretty hot. But right now, it is Odessa Permian Mojo taking on McAllen, August 30th, D.W. Rutledge Stadium in Converse.
And that does so many things for the McAllen Bulldogs, Clay. We've seen it. You want to script success, then take your team on a long road trip out of the gate, let them get that out of their way, and let them feel the atmosphere of playing against one of those teams that bring that swagger down here that always seems to take out the Valley teams in the years past. Get that out of the way. See what that's all about. See a team that, well, I don't want to use disrespect, but the different approach and how they play Valley teams compared to playing each other, and you get that out of the mix right out of the gate.
Yeah, and Coach Kevin Brewer just mentioned it. You'll see it in our report tonight at 6 and 10 that while this is a great game for McAllen, it's a must game for Odessa Permian because teams out in West Texas, especially big ones, they run out of opponents. They don't have that many. It's go up to Amarillo or go west to El Paso, or if you're lucky, go halfway down to San Antonio and meet up with Mac High. So it's kind of a necessity for Odessa Permian to find somebody else to play. It's a great thing for McAllen to be able to play a team like Permian straight out of the gate.
And I think another thing that's happening, Clay, is that these teams are, I know it's a necessity to find these games, but they're willing now to come down here because of some of the success stories coming out of this Rio Grande Valley. Teams are now more apt to say, hey, it's not a gimme game. I need to see that style. I need to see that enthusiasm that the Rio Grande Valley teams play.
Exactly right. All right, Joe, I'm going to go find some more interviews real quick. Well, you know what? I've got a couple of, I'll tell you what, if you want to go grab an interview real quick, I can fill in with some more non-district games that I've got here. Let's talk about Sherryland Pioneer, the team that's going to be brand new varsity just north on Sherry Road in Mission. Pioneer will be taking on for their very first ever varsity game. They will take on the Hidalgo Pirates. They will also take on Brownsville Pace in week 2. They will take on Corpus Christi Ray at home in week 3. Home for Mission Pioneer is what we now call Rattler Stadium at Sherryland High School. Those two teams, Sherryland and Pioneer, will share that stadium. And in week 3, Pioneer Diamondbacks will be home against the Ray Texans. That is week 3. And then their final non-district game for Pioneers Diamondbacks will be at La Feria. That will be in week 4. Port Isabel's non-district schedule looks like this. They will start with the Gruya Gators in week 1, and they will play both of the Rio Grande City ISD teams. As the week after they play La Gruya, they will take on Rio Grande City and the Rattlers. That should be a terrific game. I can't ever remember having seen Rio Grande City take on Port Isabel before. That will be a fun game to watch. Hidalgo, once again, will take on Port Isabel. That's a non-district match. That's in week 3. Valley View in week 4. And in week 5 for Port Isabel, they will take on Brownsville St. Joe. And speaking of Joe, here is Joe.
Hey, let's talk a little San Benito football. There's some question marks out there as far as the San Benito, who's going to be where, but we do have a representative here that your schedule's locked in. Let's first of all talk about that non-district schedule.
Well, our first game will be against Edinburgh High, and it will be at San Benito. Our second game will be Wesco East, which also will be at San Benito. And our third game, non-district, will be McAllen Memorial. That one we're still debating whether they're going to be home or away.
So that McAllen Memorial, that was a tough matchup for you guys this last year. So what a shootout. But talk about the mix as far as setting this up. And was it difficult to get these games, or did you guys have guys lined up ready to play you?
Well, First of all, we were looking at some projections, and they predicted us to be in the 32-6A in the lower valley. So we decided to call those teams up already. So we were already locked in before this. So it was already set.
Got that all set up. Now let's talk about from a fan perspective. There's been questions raised the last couple of years before realignments that if San Benito and Harlingen get split off a district, that rivalry wasn't going to happen. But it's intact. You guys get them again.
Oh yes, sir. But again, if we were not going to be in our district, we were going to find a way to play. There's no way we cannot play against Harlingen and San Benito. It's a rivalry game that will continue for a long, long time.
All right. Well, San Benito's schedule is set.
Yes, sir. It is completely set.
They're working on a couple of home and away. We appreciate you joining us. They're working on a couple of those home and away, where they're going to play those games, and even they were talking earlier as far as, hey, is that going to be on a Friday? Well, I hope so. That's what we want, and I know that the San Benito Greyhounds are going through some change. There'll be a new coach coming in, a new athletic director, but Greyhound fans, rest assured, your schedule has been set. Clay Williams is still out there gathering all kinds of different information. His coaches are out there. We'll see if we can get the Jaguars coach to come over here and join me before he ducks out of here. And, Coach, good to see you again. Let's talk a little Jaguar real quick and talk about that non-district schedule.
Well, I think the non-district schedule, we're going from Brownsville all the way to La Jolla, so it gives us an opportunity to play different teams. And with young kids nowadays, if you challenge them with different teams, it excites them. So we're looking forward to it. Automatically at 9 a.m. this morning, we had new rivals in the PSJA and Westlaco schools, which are established, programs, and so those new rivals became enemy number one right away. So that's what came about this meeting here.
And talk about that district and how that changes, because it brings a different style of football into your district, which is a good thing when you look at the overall outlook as far as postseason and needing to be ready to play different styles.
Oh, sure, and I think it's going to prepare us. And we knew that no matter what district we ended up in, it was going to be a very challenging district, because the Valley does play good football, and the 6A, participants in the Valley are all, quality programs, and so. Again, the challenges are there, but we knew that going into it that, we didn't know what to expect, but we knew that, we'd end up in a very competitive district. And, and I get the chance to renew old friendships with a real good mentor of mine, Tony V, who, he mentored me for close to 15 years, and so we're in the same district.
Talk about Sherryland being out of the district, and, how does that change the complexion of how this district looks? I know that it was a game you circled.
Well, I think, obviously with, some, traditionally one-horse town schools, splitting up, it's like, hopefully it, kind of like evens things up, right? So, obviously the traditional powers are still there, but now they're having to split their attendance zones, and that, they're going to be going through what we've been going through in Edinburgh, for quite some time now.
And of course the Edinburgh schools playing one another, and the fans traditionally have looked at either the first game out of the gate in district or the last game, and this time it's going to be the last, and Edinburgh North right there.
Yeah, you knew that already. We've got Edinburgh North, the last game, and hopefully it's going to mean something this year, and we think it will be, and I'm sure, Edinburgh North does too.
All right, well, I know you were heading out here. We'll let you go. Appreciate you again.
Everything you guys do.
Economides is set with their schedule, and by means set, I mean he was leaving the building, so we caught him right there at the end. Again, you can see it dwindling down as this room continues to go through meeting sessions. We are streaming live here on valleycentral.com. It is our live coverage of the 2014 realignment here. The UIL opened the envelopes up at 9 o'clock this morning, and from there on we've been streaming it with live coverage with all of these interviews and more. Of course, at 6 and 10 tonight we'll have more exclusive coverage here from this event with different interviews with coaches who met with just Clay or myself and gave us the insights. Clay is continuing to talk right now, gathering notes. Matter of fact, he tracked one down in the hallway, which is where he's at right now, and then he'll be right back with more information on that. Teams in the Valley playing out of the Valley, playing Dallas teams, playing the Allens, playing teams that we expected they would go out of the Valley to get these non-district games in, and indeed that's what has happened here today. And we'll have the full-blown schedules posted on our website just as soon as they get locked in. And already most of these coaches have got this part of their mission completed as far as getting their schedules done. It's a matter of home and aways, as again we see Clay out there working hard trying to gather some information for our shows tonight at 6 and 10 on Action 4. I'm Joe Bowling with the Action 4 Sports. Continues to bring you live coverage here from Region 1 on valleycentral.com. What do you got, Clay?
Well, just got done talking with Coach Carlos Longoria at Rio Grande City. Of course, the Rattlers coming off their best season in 15 years, and says they're happy. They're playing the two most successful teams of the last 5 years in their schedule, as they've got Port Isabel in week 2, and then they've got Sherryland coming up in their district in I think it's week 7 or week 6. I'm not sure on that one, but Port Isabel and Sherryland on your calendar coming up. That's a pretty good schedule.
If you want to talk two into the spectrum, we're going to throw the ball 50 times and we're going to throw the ball 5 times. That's going to be a good mix right there.
Yeah. Joe, I think we're probably getting ready to sign off here. We've pretty much done all we can do. We've talked to a ton of coaches. Everybody is happy with this realignment pretty much. If anybody's not happy, it's some of the smaller schools. But other than Monte Alto having to go out to brush country every week, it's a very fair schedule. The furthest, Progresso has to go up to West Oso. Other than that, there's not much here that's a problem.
No, and that was a big worry. Yeah. Was that we're going to throw the Laredos and the Corpus schools into the mix, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. So that is it from 2014 UIL Realignment, brought to you by valleycentral.com and Action 4 Sports. I want to thank Joe Bowling, and I am Action 4 Sports Director Clay Williams. It has been a great realignment for the Valley. We are looking forward to some big games this fall. We are looking forward to Harlingen, San Antonio, Reagan. We are looking forward to McAllen, Odessa, Permian, and there are more on the way, as there are still some games that haven't been set. Rio Grande City still doesn't have a week 1 opponent yet, by the way. They might be playing Monterey Tech, but we'll find that out later. But anyway, that is it from Region 1 in Edinburgh. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Stay tuned on valleycentral.com for the latest stories, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Catch up with us. We will have much more on this realignment that turned out very well. Joe, let's sign off.
It's been a long morning. Yes, sir. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.